Day 10, guys. Day 10 of the 31 Days of Favor challenge. I know some of you guys probably got some testimonies or some good reports about how this video devotional has been blessing you. So please put it in the chats, in the comment section. Let me know how these video teachings have been blessing you thus far. And we are back again. Wisdom has friends. We got Pastor Ryan here. We got Amir here. We're about to dive into chapter 10 together. All right. And today's discussion, we are going to be focusing on Proverbs. Which one do you say? Proverbs
10.
Chapter 10.
Verse 4 and 5.
We're going to do 4 and 5.
Verse 4 and 5, and we're going to talk about the principle of work. All right, the principle of work. And I really, again, when you start really looking at the connection between wisdom and wealth creation, wisdom and work, you'll find that Solomon had a lot to say about how our wealth is tied to our work ethic. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So Proverbs 10, verse 4 says this, he who has a slack hand becomes poor, but the hand of the diligent makes rich. Now, before we even go to verse 5, just looking at verse 4, Solomon begins to give us a principle that is critical for us stepping into living a lifestyle of wealth, being rich. And I don't know about you, but my desire is to continue to live a rich life, a wealthy life. I know you were watching, you probably have the option of whether you want to be poor or whether you want to be rich. I don't know how many of you, what would be the decision? You want to be poor or rich?
I'm rich.
I'm rich. I was born that way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, see? And if you didn't realize that, Jesus died for you so that you can leave poverty and become rich. The Bible says that he became poor so that you can become rich. And so one of the things I learned, my dad always says that no one is born poor, because once Jesus died on the cross for everyone, every one of us was now born rich. We're just ignorant to our riches. Mm-hmm. And so it's all about us discovering how wealthy we now are because of the sacrifice of Christ. Yeah. So you have the power to be rich, and we have to break the curse of poverty. We have to break the mindset of poverty. And so none of us here, we were born with a silver spoon in our mouth, but we have made a decision collectively, and even hungry for God. We are going after raising up a church that will be full of entrepreneurs and people who will learn how to create wealth for themselves, their families. And the Bible says a just man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. So we're not going to stop until we know that our grandchildren are going to be taken care of because of the wealth that we have developed.
Yeah.
Right?
Come on, it's good.
But wealth starts somewhere.
Starts somewhere. That's a good. That's very good.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like when you talk about like wealth, it's important that we understand the work ethic that comes with wealth.
Right.
Not being lazy, being diligent, being consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't just start with money. It starts with like every aspect of your life.
That's good.
Waking up on time, going to work on time, being diligent in what you say, having integrity. If you say something, do it, stick by it. All of these are character traits that will align you into your wealth.
Wow. So you got to become a better person overall to really like step into a lifestyle of wealth. Like you said, it's not just about money.
No, righteousness, right? Like just doing the right thing. I got to tell, my kids, if you have to be at school at 8 o'clock, you got to get up on time so you can get to school in a good enough time. You got to be early.
Right.
These type of things, these type of traits carry over into your finances. Because if you can't go to work or go to school on time, then you won't pay your bills on time. You won't, pay your lenders on time.
Wow.
So these are character traits that carry over. And so,
Wow. That's good.
right? So he who has a slack hand becomes poor. So being slack, being loose, it talks about not being, like you said, diligent. But the hand of the diligent makes rich. And so diligence is directly connected to the ability to become wealthy, right?
Yes.
To produce riches. And so, I made a Facebook post a few weeks, or I don't even remember, a few months ago, where I said, it's diligent hands, not praying hands, that's going to make a person rich, right? So at the end of the day, you have to get to work. Like, you can't pray your life into wealth.
Yes.
You can't pray your way into riches or prosperity. You literally have to work, and you have to be diligent.
Yeah.
He says, he who gathers in summer is a wise son, and he who sleeps in the harvest is a son who causes shame. Now, it sounds like this would be common sense, right? If it's harvest time, that means I got to go and actually start reaping my harvest.
Yes.
Right.
Why would Solomon have to write this?
Common sense is not so common.
Common sense is not always common. That's true.
Right?
Yeah. It's the one thing that I realize about most people. We're in an age where everybody wants to be uncommon. I want to be different.
Yeah.
But the people that understand certain things, they understand that there's certain common things that every great person has.
That's so true.
Right? So if you ask any great person certain things, you will find certain strings that are tied together. I think you taught a sermon that a while ago, and you talked about, and you said that greatness leaves
success leaves clues.
Success leaves clues.
Yeah.
So why other people are successful, and there's clues, there are common things to those successes. Mm-hmm. There's common things that tie them together. Like they say that every CEO reads 52 books a year. Mm-hmm. That's something that's common to them. Yeah. That's something that got them all there. There's certain common sense things that successful people have. Successful people have a mindset that tells them that, hey, no matter what, I'm gonna make it. Mm-hmm. There's common things in there, and I think that's a very good thing that he's talking about here, because when you are supposed to do the thing, you're supposed to do the things that's common, because if you do the things that are common, you will become uncommon.
Wow.
Most people don't want to do the things that are common because they're too focused with trying to be uncommon.
Right.
But stop trying to focus on being uncommon. Focus on being common.
Yeah.
And if you do common things consistently, you will be uncommon.
That's good.
If you do what it says that the wealth disparity in our world is very large. Yeah. But it's also different because certain people are willing to do more. Some people are more wealthy than others because they're willing to do common things that other people won't do. Yeah. So what Amir talked about, he talked about teach his kids when they get in morning, make up your bed. Mm-hmm. They said successful people make up their bed every morning. And you taught a series on that too. Mm-hmm. Like on We the People, I forgot what series that was at our church, Only For God Church. Yeah. That's on our podcast. You can go get that. And what we need to do is that we need to become familiar with the common things. Yeah. What are the common things that make me wealthy? What are the common things that make me better? Yeah. And if I do those things, I'll be uncommon. Yeah,
that's good. I think one of the things that I had to learn in terms of if I wanted to become great at anything, follow the people who've already experienced the greatness in that area. Yeah. Right? Like we look at all the greats, they study the greats. Kobe Bryant studied Michael Jordan. Yes. You just look at everyone who learned that if I'm going to become the best, I think it's another thing about track runners who At one point, the world record, I forgot what the number was, but the world record for the 100 meters, you know,
Yeah.
it wasn't. They felt like no one was ever going to be able to break it. And so one person did, well, let me find out how that person who set that record
Come on. That's
broke
good.
it.
Right.
Yes.
And once they trained the way that person trained to beat that record, they eventually beat their record,
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
right? And so, like you talked about, Ryan, that was so good that I think so many of us are trying to be so unique,
Yes.
and everyone is trying to be so different and innovative. But sometimes the best thing that we can do is just simply learn, and that goes back to wisdom, the humility
Yes.
to now learn from others who have already done what we want to do,
Yes.
and just simply mimic or copy
Yes.
what they're doing until we can, actually make it our own.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
That's good.
So then, if I want to be successful financially, I got to study people who are financially successful. I can't listen to people who still work a 9-to-5 job, who have never made money on their own outside of their own 9-to-5, tell me how to invest,
Yes.
where to invest or whatnot, if they haven't done it,
Right.
Yes.
right?
That's true.
And that's the whole point. Like you had to learn how to listen to people who have done what you want to do. Look at what Proverbs 21 says. The lips of the righteous feed many, but fools die for a lack of wisdom. Fools die for lack of wisdom. Look at that. The fool dies for a lack of wisdom because they refuse to listen to the lips of the righteous. How you gonna die from a lack of wisdom?
Yeah.
Why don't you just grab the wisdom?
Just grab it.
Exactly.
Common sense not so common, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's very simple. It's saying that I'm telling you. Some people are saying I'm telling you how to be better.
Come on.
Right.
Come on.
And simply, what we say, everybody calls the Bible basic instructions before leaving Earth.
That's right.
Right? And if we just do the basic things,
Yeah.
you won't starve.
Right.
If you do the basic things, you won't starve. And,
Yeah.
that's what this is saying like that. Because the righteous people who have already made it,
Yeah.
people who have already done it, is trying to feed you. That's what's sticking out to me. I'm like, listen,
Right.
there's people who are trying to feed me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're trying to feed me, and I'm saying, no, I want to be different, so I'm going to do stuff my own way.
Listen, man. I got my bag over there. That's why, I love books, because inside of books, you find people who have done something. They want to share
Yes.
the wealth, share the knowledge of what they've had. And I really believe there's nothing that anything you will ever need to know today in life, you can find it in a book.
Yes.
And that's why CEOs read 52 books a year.
Yeah.
I'm going to feed off of this so that I can continue to be successful.
Yes.
Right? And then so we encourage people to be readers. Like even at H4G, leaders are readers. We keep emphasizing. I'm throwing books out at people all the time, say, hey, read this, consume this, because this is what's going to feed you in order for you to become successful in what you're called to do. Which leads us to Proverbs 10:22, the infamous verse where it says, the blessing of the Lord makes one rich, and he adds no sorrow with it.
That's good.
We all love that verse, but we don't read
The 21 verses, all the 21 verses that came before that, right?
led to that, right?
Yeah.
So we want the Lord to bless me, to make me rich, but he talks about what verse 4 says, right? A slight hand becomes poor, but the hand of the diligent makes rich, right? So God is going to bless the work of your hands.
Yes.
Absolutely.
To make you rich.
Yes. It's like wanting the cherry on top without doing the work to get the cake.
Right.
Everybody, the blessing is the cherry on top. But everybody says that they got to love something lovely. They want a cherry on top, but they don't want to bake the cake.
Bake the cake.
Right.
God is saying,
Patience.
God is saying, I will give you the blessing of the Lord that maketh rich and add no sorrow. But are you willing to bake the cake? Are you willing to that? And that baking the cake is not just going in the kitchen and like you guys talked about just preparing.
Yeah.
In your other days here, I watched it. Don't worry, I watch your videos. I know what you guys are talking about. So I know that you guys talk about preparation.
Yeah.
And God is saying here, if you listen to the lips of the righteous that feed you, the blessing of the Lord is going to come.
Yeah.
It's going to come.
Yeah.
Because it said it's going to make you rich.
Make you rich. Wow.
Yeah, that's good.
Sometimes like you said, the blessing may come through someone trying to feed you, give you the instructions, give you the ways to get it done. And if you listen, it'll make you rich.
And a lot of times, the mistake we make, I believe, is that we look at being rich always being attached to a dollar value.
Yeah.
You can be rich with knowledge.
Right.
Yes.
You can be rich with relationships.
That's good.
That can get you money.
That's good. That's
right?
good. Exactly.
So,
exactly.
being rich is not just having green or
A lot of money.
Yeah. You gotta, you could be rich in love. You could be rich in wisdom.
Yeah, the Bible said, our Father God who is rich in mercy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's rich in everything.
Right. But one thing we want to know as we close this lesson, he says that the blessing of the Lord will add no sorrow. And, we had one of our members share a testimony in church a few days ago about how she had an opportunity to speak outside of the country as her first international speaking engagement. And initially, she, talked about how it was a blessing. This is what she prayed for. And then a few weeks later, after investigating, realized that it was a scam. Right? And thankfully, she found out sooner than later, because if she didn't investigate it, she would have ended up sending money because they told her she had to send a certain amount of money in order to get some work visa so that she could be able to go. But it was a scam, and that they were actually doing to take people's money.
Wow.
And so it was she thought it was a blessing at first, but it would have led to sorrow if she didn't find out the truth about it. And that's why every blessing that comes to us is not always a blessing.
It's not always the blessing of the Lord.
Yeah, and that's it.
Because when you're blessing the Lord, there will be a level of peace.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's very important. And Jay spoke about this, and I'm going to hijack a little bit of his words here. He talked about the blessing of the Lord.
Yeah.
If there's the blessing of the Lord, there's all the blessings as well.
You're right.
Because every blessing is not of the Lord. This was specifically saying of the Lord.
Listen, the devil will send you a blessing. Wow. The devil will send you a blessing. You asking for something and you really believing for something to happen, and then all of a sudden it comes to you. But then you have to make sure now you have the wisdom to discern, is this from God or is it not? Is this from the Lord or is this from someone else? Because if not, you can ultimately find out in the end if it brings sorrow, pain, or if it brings peace. And I don't know about you, but because of that one command in 22, if God has been given to me, I don't want it. I don't care how good it looks. I don't care how fancy it sounds. I don't care if it's not from the Lord. I don't want it, because I know that in the end it's going to bring me sorrow.
Yes.
Only the blessing of the Lord can add peace, can add assurance, can add joy, can add righteousness. Yes. And I want to live a peaceful life above anything else. I'll take money. I'll take peace over money any day. You know what I'm saying? Like being rich in peace. That's something that I value, because you can't buy that. And they say if anything costs you your peace, it's too expensive.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. So this is what we want to challenge you guys to do. Day 10, I want you to just think about what are some of the areas in your life that you are slacking in. and you want the blessing of God to work, the principle of work, is this: God will bless the work of your hands. And so, don't, if you're desiring God to bless you in any area that you're not doing the due diligence or doing the work, and then I need you to, you're gonna have to renew your mind. Yes. And I want you to challenge yourself to say, hey, I'm gonna get some discipline. And again, I would challenge you, start reading some books on the very area, the very niche, or the very field that you want to work in or to prosper in. Start getting around people that actually know more than you in that area, and ask them questions, and just get to work. Just do what you feel God has put in you, a grace to do. And I'm telling you, you're going to see the blessing of God continue to come upon you to do it. All right. So, any last words before we end this day?
No, this is good.
We're on wisdom.
Find wisdom, find favor. So this is it, guys. See you in day 11. Don't forget to click subscribe, turn the notifications on so that you can stay in tune. We got a lot more surprises coming up each day for the rest of the month. So God bless you. See you tomorrow.